Death anxiety is an interesting phenomenon. Now, everyone, I believe, at some point in their life goes through it. Some people see it in their 50s, but a lot of people go through it in their 20s, and that's when I went through it. And I've actually overcome it to a varying degree. I think everyone has still some fear of death, right? It's the great unknown, right? And that's what makes it so scary. Think about why. Okay, so this is a pretty big fear as well. Being in the ocean, right? Just being out in the ocean, especially if it's like dark, you got the moon kind of just glistening on the top of the seabed, and you know that the ocean is deep. You don't really know, though, what's below your feet, right? You have like crazy visions or thoughts of maybe there's a shark kind of swimming up towards my feet, like that famous image from Jaws, right? It's the great unknown. And ultimately, that's what death is. And that's why a lot of people go through death anxiety. It's the fear of the unknown. And I went through crazy death anxiety in my 20s just while I was in college. And I don't know if it's also possibly to do with my upbringing. My mom was very religious. My dad wasn't, though. But my mom was very religious, and I think that kind of rubbed off on me a little bit. You know, you have these fantasies or dreams of an afterlife, or just that's God loves you, and there's a reason for your life. There's a reason for existing, and I still think there is still truth to that. But I don't believe in the same things I did when I was a kid, and I think a death of religion, losing your religion, is a part of death anxiety. You know, that comfort place where you would go to and think about and dream of something more to life than what might actually be there. Now, what actually got me to get over my death anxiety? I was thinking about it the other day. And I know this is not the typical video I do on my channel, but I felt like this is worth a rant because we kind of talk about this a little bit on the channel and react to some videos about Earth potentially being hell. You know, is this purgatory? Life as a simulation? All of these things and all these subjects I've touched upon are kind of an extension of my death anxiety, tackling a lot of these subjects. And that has ultimately helped. But the main thing that's helped me is during the pandemic, a lot of kind of synchronicity happened with me. And a lot of things kind of worked out in a way that kind of kept me stable, in control, and safe. A lot of people I know were struggling during that time, and I felt like my life improved dramatically, which is weird to say because a lot of people struggled during that time. I met my wife just before the pandemic. We ended up buying a townhome together in another city. We got married, obviously, and we just had a child just about 10 months ago. Logan is almost 11 months, actually, at the recording of this video. So all these things happened, kind of lined up for me in a way where it made me more comfortable with the idea of death. Well, as comfortable, I guess, as anyone can really be. But it made me realize there's other potential factors at play. There's other things happening in the universe. Some things are helping you. You know, there's the whole idea of a guardian angel, right? Someone who looks after you. And I don't know if that's 100% true, but I felt like at times in my life, at the lowest points in my life, there was always something there, like a drive in me to pick myself up, get back on my feet, and get me through a difficult stage in my life. Death anxiety is kind of a crippling mental state to have, especially when you're young, right? Because you're so filled with energy and positivity, but then you have it in the back of your mind, and it really kind of changes your personality a little bit, and maybe sometimes it gives you a drive. Maybe that's why a lot of people have death anxiety in their 20s, because that's the most pivotal stage of your life, right? Like that's you where you kind of sink or swim. Like you can set the foundation for your life in your 20s instead of going out and partying and stuff like that, which is obviously something you probably think about. You're young, you only have one life to live, right? At least that's a motto. But I don't want to delve too much into that because that'll get me sidetracked like crazy if we talk about that. But in your 20s, you can really screw your entire life up by making poor decisions. And you can also set yourself up for success for the rest of your life. And that's why death anxiety, I think, can sometimes help people, but also can stunt people. Some people never get over their death anxiety. I have a brother who, he had a really bad experience with mushrooms. And he experienced something called an ego death. If you guys are familiar with that, you can actually research it. It's something that some people get from time to time when they take psychedelics. Now, this ego death really crippled him. Like, he honestly became almost a different person after this. He might not realize this, but as someone who's his brother and someone who spends a lot of time with him, I saw a completely different person after that. He became oddly more in fear of death. Started panic attacks. He still deals with panic attacks to this day. It might not necessarily be completely related to death anxiety, but there's got to be something there. It's in the back of everyone's mind, right? And it's a scary place to be. And I don't recommend anyone taking psychedelics necessarily to get over death anxiety, because you can have a positive trip or a negative trip. When you have a negative one, it can make it much worse. But some people actually come out of it with a better outlook on death. There's been studies that have shown that people who take either MDMA or psilocybin when they have terminal cancer, they actually end up having a better outlook on death and less fear of death. But sometimes it's the opposite, right? I ultimately got over it because there is too many synchronicities happening at a certain point in my life where I thought, this can't be a mistake. Life is too weird to be completely random. I don't know. Maybe that's a weird thing to say. I don't know. There's going to be people in the comments that are probably going to come after me for saying that, but life is too weird. It's too bizarre. Floating on a rock in the sky, well, in an empty universe, mostly empty universe, at least around us, the next planet is an absurd distance away, and then if you get even further than that, the next universe is even further. And we're in this vastness, this emptiness, but also a bizarre state, right? Like the universe is so big that it's hard to even really comprehend, and that's why it's hard for people to really come to terms with everything. But I also think that the randomness, the bizarreness of life makes me think that there's something else going on that maybe we can't see, especially since 2020. And I know I've already stated that a few times in the video. Things have lined up in a way that have really kind of revealed that life is stranger than fiction. And I think because of that, it's helped me deal with my crippling death anxiety that I had in my early 20s. I think back about myself in my early 20s and I almost want to give myself a hug and just say, dude, everything is going to be fine. You're worrying about things that are out of your control. Just try to enjoy the moment and just relax. If you've ever had death anxiety, leave it down below in the comment section and how you've overcome it, or maybe you're still struggling with it today. Maybe people can chime in, reply to your comment, give you some advice, cheer you up or something, but that's how I kind of got over it. Well, that's about it. A little bit of a random video today, but Hope you guys at least enjoyed my rambles, and if you did, leave your thoughts about it down below. And I'll see you in the next one.